So I was just thinking earlier, and I was thinking about the war on drugs we have going on in this country. I got to thinking about all of the advertisements you see on TV against weed. They're ridiculous. There's just a there's a few thoughts about weed that people have, and these advertisements actually encourage these ideas that are just stupid. The most ridiculous is this idea that if you smoke weed, you're gonna become this burnout that doesn't care about anything other than sitting on the couch watching TV and eating all day. I mean, sure, there's the occasional stoner that pretty much just smokes and doesn't do a whole lot, but do you really think that none of these people would have been this way one way or another? Or that some of them were just looking for something to help them escape from reality for one reason or another? I mean, at least they're doing something that's not harming anybody. It's better than a lot of other things that they could be picking up. But regardless, you can see that this all the time, whether it be with people you know or with people on the internet. People talking about weed causing people to abandon their family and stop trying at their job and lose it, and other things like that, as if the marijuana is causing them to do this. It's just completely false, and I'm sure most everyone knows multiple people who smoke and lead completely normal lives. There's another common myth that weed is a gateway drug. There are so many people out there that only smoke weed that would disagree with this assessment. Do some people start smoking and then move on to bigger things? Yeah, obviously. But it's not the weed that's making them do this. It's their desire to experiment with things like drugs. If there's no such thing as weed, if there was no such thing as weed, then they would still be doing these other drugs. It wasn't the weed that made them do this. A guy whose YouTube videos I used to watch, his name was Ronan Nachman, I think, and I believe he passed away. He made a video on the false concept of the gateway drug, and he said something that I thought was kind of funny. He said that everyone that has drank pop has also drank water. Therefore, water is a gateway to pop. And then he said how ridiculous that was, and how equally ridiculous it was that weed led to harder drugs. The point is, it's not a gateway drug, and you can live a perfectly normal life while doing it. The only way it could cause you to not lead a normal life while on it is if the police arrest you for doing it because of this failed war on drugs and makes you a criminal. And that's what the war on drugs does. It makes criminals out of completely harmless individuals. And this is the true gateway that causes people who smoke to do worse things. Anyways, I remember a while back I heard that Barney Frank was putting forth a bill to legalize marijuana at a federal level. And one of my favorite politicians, Ron Paul, was co-sponsoring it. And I know that last year they failed with, I think, the same bill. And I know that this year they were doing it again. And I don't know if it already failed or if anything has even happened with it yet, but I just figured I'd bring it up. I'll post a link to an article about it. And it has a couple good quotes on it. One of them is, criminalizing choices that adults make because we think they are unwise ones, when the choices involved have no negative effects on the rights of others, is not appropriate in a free society. And I totally agree with this. Why does one group get to decide what's right and wrong for another group? Why not let each group choose for themselves? It's not as if anyone's forcing the group A to do what group B does. Another quote is where he being Barney Frank, said that he agreed with the idea that the government should not be encouraging the smoking of marijuana. He then went on to say, quote, "But it is a great mistake to divide all human activity into two categories, those that are criminally prohibited and those that are encouraged." And once again, hit the nail on the head. Now, by the way, I'm not sure, I don't really know much about Barney Frank's politics, so I can't say whether I like him or not, so don't take this video to be a sponsor for him or anything like that. But I do like Ron Paul, I know him. But that's just a point I'm making. And anyways, another point is that our prisons are overpopulated, and we have one of the largest, and I actually think it's the largest prison population in the world. Why not take some of the pressure off of the courts and stop turning people into criminals who the majority of the population doesn't consider criminals?